A member of the Resources Committee.
The gentlelady from Massachusetts is recognized.
Thank you, Ranking Member Grijalva. Last week, the Republican majority pushed through legislation attacking clean air, clean water, and blocking public transparency into payments made to foreign governments by oil and mining companies. Today, we are considering legislation that will roll back opportunities for the American people to have a say in how our nation's public lands are managed. The idea that there should be national public lands that belong to and are managed on behalf of the American people is a value that dates back to the founding of our country and is embedded in our Constitution. Generation after generation of Americans has endorsed the idea that our public lands should be managed to balance many competing uses: recreation, responsible economic development, sustainable resource extraction, renewable energy, military purposes, and conservation of historic American landscapes, just to name a few. And we all want to see this important aspect of our national heritage managed in an effective and efficient manner, balancing conservation for future generations with sustainable productivity for local communities. The Bureau of Land Management's Planning 2.0, as it is known, will help us better achieve this balance on the approximately 245 million acres of land managed by the BLM. Citizens, we all have a right to provide input on how we would like to see these public lands managed. But the current process for doing so is slow, lacks transparency, and fails to incorporate over 30 years of updated science and understanding of our changing climate. In fact, this process hasn't been substantially updated since the Reagan administration. States, local governments, and other stakeholders all agreed that the process was in need of updates. BLM agreed with this consensus and began a 2-year review, receiving over 3,000 public comments on what changes needed to be made. 2 years, 3,000 public comments. This was no midnight regulation. Their final product, which the resolution before us today would permanently overturn, increases transparency, enhances the role of science in decision-making, and strengthens the role of the public's voice earlier in the planning process. Planning 2.0 also upholds the Federal Land Policy and Management Act's commitment to states, local governments, and tribes in land management decisions. The Bureau of Land Management made several changes in between the draft rule and the final rule to clarify coordination requirements and promote consistency with local land use plans, all in response to concerns raised through the public input process. According to a BLM fact sheet on the final rule, quote, "The new rule does not change the special relationship and opportunities provided by statute for cooperating agencies," unquote. And, quote, "The final rule establishes several new opportunities for coordination between the BLM and our government partners," unquote. We should be working together on proposals that strengthen management of our public lands, balance conservation with economic development, and provide sustainable benefits to the people who rely on them for their economic livelihoods. The resolution before us lies in the face of these goals. I urge my colleagues to reject this Congressional Review Act resolution and vote no. With that, I yield back.
Generally yields